This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.
Thank you very much, and I'm really happy to speak in this first Koller meeting, and as a collaboration with the Sagol School, and this very interesting innovation day. And I would like to start with showing some facts and numbers before we continue. So I'm going to say a few bit gloomy things about brain disorders and where we are today. So at the moment there are about 51 million people worldwide who suffer from schizophrenia. It's a cost of about 62 billion per year only in the USA. Stroke, there are 2 million who are going to have stroke in Europe and in the States per year. There are 30 million people suffering from depression worldwide, and the burden is about 270 billion per year. Parkinson might be a bit better, but 5 or 6 million people are sick globally. But I think maybe an epidemic is Alzheimer's. Today we have about 40 million people who suffer, but by 2050, 135 million people are going to suffer worldwide.
This is already causing depression.
And this is, and I'm going to change it in a minute. And this is only in 35 years. And if I look at the people here, most of us are going to be here in 35 years, and bang, we are going to be maybe in these statistics, and we would like not to be there. So what can we do about it? Yeah.
It's personal motivation.
We have personal motivation for sure. The cost is 1 trillion per year, and the market by 2020 would be 20 billion per year. So these are really gloomy numbers and fact. And I want to bring another points to the story, or maybe try to think about the better future. Wouldn't it be great that each one of us that's sitting here would have a small stitch here or a electrode that will detect his brain activity and will record the brain activity and tell your physician or yourself that something is wrong. You might have been before a stroke attack. Maybe you should go and see a doctor. Wouldn't it be great that we'd sit here with some earphones, hearing specific tones or specific frequency, or maybe have some kind of stimulation, and this might prevent us from getting Alzheimer's? Wouldn't it be great if people with depression will have their smartphone telling their physician or psychiatrist that they are going to have an episode of a depression, and they will take the meditation before it starts? So these are not science fiction. These are part of the stories that you're going to hear in a few minutes by 5 of the colleagues of the Sagol School of Neuroscience: Nathan Intrator from the computer science, Danny Michelson from life science, Ina Slutsky from medical faculty, Noam Shomron from medical faculty, and Uri Nevo from engineering faculty. As you see, there are people coming from different disciplines, and they are part of a large group of scientists working on neuroscience. So I will leave them the stage to tell their story, but I would like to continue and try to tell us or to think together how can we bring the situation to be better from the place it's today. So another evidence that I would like to share with you: despite billions of dollars that have been invested in the last 20 years, there is no cure for any of the major brain disorders. And as we were having some guesses before, can anyone guess why? What is the reason that we invested billions of dollars and we don't have a good medication?
We don't know what causes it.
2 points for that table. So I think that the main reason for that is we are missing really in-depth a mechanistic understanding of neurodegeneration and neuropsychiatric disorders. And if you don't understand the problem, if you don't understand what a gene is doing wrong in the disease, we're not going to find any treatment for that or any drug. And unfortunately, in the last 20 years, many drugs have been tried. Some of them found to be good, but most of them failed. And the main reason is that we are really missing any mechanistic understanding of the brain function and brain dysfunction. And the question is, how can we increase the chances to develop a treatment for preventing and maybe curing brain disorders? And I think maybe the important thing, that the prerequisite for development a new product or technology is having excellent research, having excellent development. Together, we are going to have the venture, and this is what is called R&D. This is in an optimal world. at the CNS, at the brain science, what is called here, the academia is really leading in research. There is a lot of knowledge, a lot of know-how, a lot of expertise, developing tools, developing excellent people, but there is little development. We heard about it from Ram before. In the industry, on the other end, we have a lot of development, but a little bit of research. And the R&D are far away. And what we need to do is to really to bridge the gap, and we heard about it quite a lot today, and joint research and development, bring the academy together and the industry, and having an R&D together. This is, I think, what we need to do. The question is really, how do we do it? And as I said, the obstacle is we don't have an understanding. The mission, and I think it's pretty clear, in order to develop any drug, we need to understand the problem. And we can understand the problem if we have a lot of activity in the academy. And I think the prerequisite is active collaboration with academy that will produce new knowledge. And together with the industry, we can combine things and develop it together. The challenge, of course, is how to catalyze the discovery by bridging the gap between research and commercialization, or between academy and industry. And what we would like to suggest is a new solution that we have started in the Sagol School of Neuroscience. We call it Brain Boost, and the solution is building a cluster of applicative projects that accelerate the development of brain research and technology. In order to be able to do such a thing, you need really a big operational academy behind it. You need excellent research that are investigating these directions, and this is exactly what we are doing in the Sagol School of Neuroscience. The Sagol School of Neuroscience is rather new. It was established only 2012, but it already have now a full academic program educating bachelor degree, master, PhD, and postdoc in many directions of neuroscience. We have 100 research groups in 7 different faculties, and Professor Klafter mentioned it, from the life science, medical, psychology, to computer science, engineer, linguistics, social science. So it really covers all the faculties, and this includes also 17 affiliated hospitals, which really brings the power of translation and clinical knowledge. Our mission is really to train new generation of leadership in neuroscience and develop interdisciplinary research in brain science, and I think this will create the breakthrough in this field. And this is just to show you the large number of labs which are working in different disciplines. It's really hard to see the names here, but they are coming from several disciplines like neurology, psychiatry, computer science, brain disorders and discovery, molecular and cellular neuroscience to allow understanding the mechanism, brain imaging from single molecule to function, and cognitive neuroscience. Now, these groups are really active in research in brain disorders, and I have a list of most of the major brain disorders. There are at least 1 or 2 or 3 or sometimes 12 groups who are investigating this direction from the basic up to the clinics. So it's an excellent place for studying and developing drugs in this in neurodegenerative disease. And this already brought to several generation of several drugs and application. For example, Circadin, which was the first drug developed by Professor Zisapel by Neurim Pharmaceutic, and this is now sold by Teva. It's against incinoma, sleep disorders. Stem cell therapy is very active in Tel Aviv University. Professor Melamed and Professor Ofen from the medical faculty have founded Brainstorm, which is a company which is now found in clinical phase 2. They got, I think, an approval for FDA to continue their clinical trial and the therapy for ALS and also for Parkinson's disease. Retinal implant, Professor Yael Hanin, who is heading the Nano Center, initiated NanoRetina, and together they are developing retinal implant in order to develop to combat blindness in blind people. There are novel agents for Alzheimer's disease developed by Professor Salomon by Neurophage, and we'll hear more about it by Danny Michelson from another direction. And this list is longer, and I don't have all the list here, but there is a lot of activity in this area. So what we really would like to have in our institute is to have something like an accelerator that will bring and allow us to develop drug, device, algorithm, both with private consumer and for diagnostics and for treatment of brain disorders. And how does this Brain Boost initiative look like? And maybe before that, I will mention the advantage both for the student that will combine research skill with experience and mindset of working in the industry. The industry will gain by opportunities to solve specific R&D tasks, to have the university state-of-the-art technology and knowledge and know-how. and the academy or the school will be advantaged by creating a new opportunity for novel research area. So how is this brain boost look like? So this is a cluster of applicative projects in brain technology, and we have two types of them. One which will be projects which are discussed together between the academy and the industry, and will start as a joint endeavor to try to find a specific cure. The other would be a project that will start in the academy and the industry will join later on. This is rather the regular thing. But I think on top of us, or if each one of these projects will have a mentor, will have a manager who will have both the knowledge from the academy and the industry, who will allow to push this project from the level of basic science to the level of applicative science. And the stages that we have started to do in the last year is first we have to really to identify such project. So what we did is we did some brainstorming with the industry, and by saying that we met the many industries in Israel which are now concentrating on neuroscience, including large companies like IBM and Teva, and small companies. And these companies are coming from many directions: algorithm-based, device-based, therapeutics, stem cells, you just name it. And with Teva, I think Ram mentioned before, there is an ongoing collaboration between the different universities, and it was a great pleasure to hear last year that they initiated the National Network of Excellency, and Tel Aviv University is really leading in collaboration with Teva. And the idea here is really to come to the CEO of these companies, discuss with them their needs, their problem, their obstacle, try to see if they are matching within the 100 faculty member in Tel Aviv University, and if there is interest in the other side, and try to decide of a project. And there are several projects running with Teva, with IBM, trying to find solution for Huntington on one side and dyslexic people in the other side. So after we did this first phase, we go back, as I said, to the groups. We found the collaborators, and for each one of these projects, we're going to have a postdocs, experienced researchers that will run the project for 2 or 3 years. And during these years of running the project, these postdocs are going to be exposed to something which is a bit unusual for the academy, and maybe with the management faculty, which will be, I think, a push forward, is having courses or knowledge about IP, about regulation, about patents. And let's say that this project didn't succeed. This is not so bad, since this student who was passing these courses might be the next entrepreneur and open his company, and I think we are missing companies in these directions. And if everything goes okay, I think we'll have a venture, and we'll have some product, and it mature into a project, or into a product that later on will be bought by a company or will continue to be developed. So this is the idea, and I would like to sum up with a sentence that I saw in one of the articles I read before when I prepared this, and it says like that: if the appreciated level of investment is made in research, it has been estimated that a cure for schizophrenia should have been found within 10 years by 2013. This was said in 2003. I think we missed this point, but the point here is I think that we really need a lot of research to be, a lot of investment to be done in the research area, at least in the neuroscience field. We are missing quite a lot of understanding. And if I would have to do a business plan for Brain Boost, there are two options. What would be the most appropriate way to boost development of brain? So you can either have the long run, large investment of 1 to 10 millions or maybe 1 billion, as we heard before, in clinical trial. But I think it's much more easier in this case. So I think $100,000 per year per project for 2 or 3 years can really boost some of the project and bring them from the level of basic science into applicative science. And this will be a very easy way to go from this direction to that direction. And we're going to hear about 5 of the stories in a few more minutes. And there are more in the Segal School of Neuroscience, many more projects that are waiting for small support in order to become the next breakthrough or the next development of treatment. And what we are suggesting is really to brain boost academy, boost industry, boost brain science and technology. And the brain behind it is Dana Bar-On, who is somewhere here. She was here. She is there.
Dana,
And if there are more questions, so please approach her or me. Thank you very much.
This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.